Security Mobile, and it's all about apps. Joanna Goodman reporting from Maps. Well done.
Wozniak. Thank you very much.
Morning. So making sure I'm not breathing too much down my microphone. Welcome, Steve. Pleasure, as I'm sure it is for everyone sitting here.
I like a good short introduction. Let's go. It's going to be my best friend someday, but to have it on me, you see, they got smaller. The products got smaller and smaller and smaller every step of the evolution. And, well, except for maybe the bigger phones. They got smaller, and that means more personal and close to you. Well, what's the closest of all is if you're wearing it, you don't have to think about it. I don't have to pull a phone out of my pocket, you know, and make sure I pull the right phone out. And it's just right here, more closer to me.
I've heard you say before that what we really need is something a little bit like Apple Script for voice.
Wait a minute, that's what I've been saying for years to our Apple Script expert at Apple, that we should have Apple Script on the iPhone and the iPad. Apple Script's a language on our Macintosh computers. You don't have a defined language. Every application on the computer gets to write its own verbs and nouns, its own commands, and add to the dictionary, and you are talking to one application program at a time on a Macintosh when you write AppleScript programs. So you will say, tell mail to duplicate the front window, something like that. And your commands will be very different if you're talking to Foursquare to check in to the theater or something like that. And I want that to be applied to my speech, so that I can control all the apps that the app writers can put their own dictionary in, the way everybody did with AppleScript in the old days. And let's see, that's just a wish list. I don't know if Apple ever hears me talking that one for a while, but it would really give me a lot good, better voice control to every single app. All the major apps would include this AppleScript-ish thing.
So it would be fitting we didn't ask something about Apple. It's actually quite conveniently timed this interview today, because last night Apple announced a whole load of new stuff. New iPads, new Macs, new Mac Pros, things like that. Have you had a chance to take a look at those? Anything that sort of jumps out and says, wow?
You know, I am constantly following the gadget and the product world, and it's so important to me. And I'm always if I'm in town, I attend the events. I was invited. If I'm out of town, I'm watching the live blogs online. Well, I was on a plane all last night, so I missed it all. And when I got in, I looked at the products, and the iPads didn't hit my needs. Yes, thinner, lighter, smaller, totally good. That's just the new iPad. I don't think they're going to sell the old and the new, so it just replaces it. It's guaranteed high sales from day one. But the trouble is, I don't have broadband at home, and I travel so much. I'm in hotels.
Well, you don't have broadband at home.
No, and in hotels you don't have broadband. So I carry a lot of my personal media, a lot of the Big Bang Theory TV shows and videos and audio and all that. I like to carry it. And 128 gigabytes for the current iPad. I was hoping Apple would have a 256 gigabyte version so I could put all the seasons of the Big Bang Theory on one iPad. But it didn't come out. That was all I looked forward to. So I emailed my wife, nope, don't want one of those. But they did up the MacBook Pro, which is the heart of my life for computing. Especially since I type a lot in Dvorak, avoiding my fingers having to move a long distance. And they upped it to a terabyte instead of 3/4 of a terabyte for the built-in solid-state disk. So that one hit a sweet spot. But yeah, I didn't see the show, so I didn't see a lot of the introduction of Maverick. I just installed it this morning, so I haven't even had a chance to play with it yet. Installed new operating systems on my iPhones, and one of them made it, and one of them didn't because Vodafone's not playing the game.
So I mean,
but you asked one question about something.
Probably about you not having broadband at home, which is
Yeah.
hugely surprising.
Yeah, broadband is surprising. 40% of Americans don't have broadband in one survey. And it's not my choice. I don't have a choice. I have other solutions, and I have LTE on my phone. Yeah, LTE on my phone. At my home, when LTE first got introduced near me, I was getting 7 to 10 megabits. Doesn't sound like much. I've been in Turkey, and on 3G, I got 42 megabits to my iPhone. So I just happen to live slightly in a hill, 1 kilometer out of town, that's all, out of the main part of Silicon Valley. And now the LTE often goes down to 1 megabit per second. I guess so many people using it in our area, you can't really count on it. So, no, I cannot order a movie from iTunes and watch it right away. Sometimes I have to wait hours before I can watch it, and by then I don't want it. So that's life. And it's very sad because I used to be the king of the hill. Man, back in the days when everybody had dial-up modems at 28K baud, and they went up to 50K baud, I had a 1 megabit, 1.5 megabit T1 line up and down, racks of servers in my home, server lots of stuff, but so I was king of the hill, and now T1 line is, bottom.
Let's talk a little bit about startups, about new developers, about new products. There's probably quite a lot of developers, I think, in this room right now. What sort of parallels do you draw between, say, the early days of Apple, those sort of first garage months, and today's sort of startup scene and new developers? What advice or what lessons do you think you learned in those early days that can still be applied today?
That's two questions, parallels and advice. Parallels, I think about it, my first response is, well, it's the same thing, but no, it isn't, because back then, startups were a little bit unusual. You start something on your own. Look at California was a hot spot for a lot of them, Places like Google, if you look at Microsoft, Apple, Yahoo in its day, Facebook, they all kind of started with just young people just sort of going on their own way and no prescribed formula. But now apps are so big. There's so much of a market, there's so many of them that if you have a winner, you make a lot of money. It's such a big deal that everybody's out there trying to think of it in terms of maximizing a company and planning everything and doing more of the business from a planned business point of view. When we started Apple, our business was accidental. Steve Jobs just wanted to have a successful company, and he did all the business on the phone, ordering parts and getting sales and getting publicity. One thing that I do see is publicity matters a lot. We had a lot of publicity because nobody was against us. No big companies thought our personal computers were going to be successful in that early startup phase. So all the press was hot on this neat story, including 2 kids starting in a garage. The whole idea of little computers that would be in your own home was a hot story until they became very successful, and then the big companies sort of had to respond as competitors more. And today, you almost start out in such a huge market for everything, you've almost got to think, oh my gosh, I've got competition from the start, and what am I trying to do? Are you also I think that apps, are you trying to do something? When we started Apple, we started with a really advanced product. I hate to say it, the Apple II, but it was all of the revenues and profits of Apple for the first 10 years of the company. We went through failures of the Apple III, the Lisa, and the Macintosh trying to build other computers, and we just failed over and over. And we had to actually modify the Macintosh and market it heavily to get it to sell for 3 years after Steve Jobs left. It was by people that he just gave that made it finally go. We believed it was the future, but the market was a lot tougher to face now. Marketing's the most important thing. It's a lot easier to think of an app and write it than to figure out a way to convince people to buy it. I'm sure a lot of you in this room have found that. Very difficult to get the message out. Very important to get good publicity in the right places, because public journals, right blogs can reach 10,000 people, 100,000 people, 1 million people in one shot. And so you've got to really be focused on thinking, how do I get my product noticed? And it just doesn't necessarily happen all by its own. Sure, you hear stories about Facebook or Google just instantly catching on, or Netscape instantly catching on and flooding the world, in a month. But that's not typical. Even Apple's not a typical story. So that's the comparison. What was the second part of the question?
I think it's sort of advice.
Advice? Oh, well.
That kind of sort of factored in, I suppose.
Yeah, but obviously, treat it as marketing is the most important. What is marketing? More than anything else, it is being a user of your product. When I worked at Hewlett-Packard, we were an engineering-driven corporation, and I developed the early computers of Apple there. I tried to get HP to do it. They turned me down 5 times. But how come we were engineering driven? That meant that engineers could come up with the product ideas that would become products that would take a division of Hewlett-Packard for the next decade. Normally those ideas come down from management, they come down from marketing, figuring out what are the needs of the user, what are the price ranges, what are the features. Well, at Hewlett-Packard, back in those days, we were only building tools that engineers use. So we engineers were the market. We totally understood it. We understood what was needed, what was good, what was bad, so the ideas could come out of our own head, which was very motivating, very personal. But then when we started Apple, we changed the fundamental direction. We're going to be market-oriented. We're going to understand people, their needs. We're going to modify products accordingly. We're going to write software that fills those needs and develop extra hardware and be very attentive to the end user. So it always helps if you are. If you're not an end user and you have a good idea, you better find one of those people that is a good end user and become partners with them even when you're running on $0. Find somebody that'll be friend with you and really help tell you what to do. And also, if you're a businessman, please find the engineer. Maybe most of you in this room are programmers, but please find the engineers, because engineering is so difficult. You have to think of clever ways to solve problems and get things to work. And the engineers' minds are so clever, they'll think of things you didn't think of for your own product idea, that are possible, that it'll just be ideas that come to them. You don't ever expect the answers to come instantly. A lot of people like to have a meeting, we formalize it, we write it down, and this is what our company's going to build. Give it time to gel. At least one night, but half a week, maybe a month, and all of a sudden you're thinking about an idea for that long, and those oddball ideas that will pop into other people's heads will come to you. And also, if you write an app or something like that, your goal should be, what can I do to make it better than anybody else in the world would do? Or at least as good as anyone else in the world could possibly do. Excellence is absolutely important in my mind, but for every product there is. And sometimes you think, I'll just add one little touch, or I'll improve the graphics, or I'll simplify an approach in there. You give it a second try. Yeah, that takes a little extra time, and sometimes it violates the idea of having fixed schedules and quotas and things like that. But that's the advice I give. Now, you got to mix the creative thinking with the very well-skilled people that know how to build things out. What is going on in the thinker's mind to come up with a new idea and a new approach? Are they really innovative? Do they have something that's different than other people's, especially? Now, I get about a dozen emails a day. People that want me to look at their ideas and their products and let them give me a demo and talk me in. Do I want to be an advisor? I am so out of time, I can rarely do that. But I meet with people. I meet with fans. Every time I have 3 days, I'll meet them for lunch or dinner. This one group came into town one time. My town, Los Gatos, California. And these 2 founders told me about how they were building solid-state disks. Okay, and solid-state disks were starting to come into existence. The chips were still a little too expensive to have a disk at a reasonable size, but some of us that are electronic and not mechanical, we don't want the spinning hard disk. We want to replace them with chips. We love the solid-state disks. You build a little solid-state disk in a drive, and you plug it in place of a hard disk. Simple formula. Well, these guys that met me were doing something different. They put all the chips, maybe hundreds of them, to get the architecture to get high speed out of NAND flash chips, like speed that's 100 times faster than a hard disk, or 1,000 times faster. And they plugged it straight into the server. With a little driver program, it can seem to be a hard disk, but it can also seem to be chips that implement a new kind of storage, slower than RAM, but faster than hard disks. And I thought, that is the architecture thinking that, oh my gosh, was the key to a lot of my thinking in the early Apple computers. It just fits so perfectly. So I joined that company. I really believed in that one. And their leader, by the time they went public, they had as big a public offering as Apple in constant dollar terms. And it's Fusion.io out of Salt Lake City, although most of the workers are in Silicon Valley now. And worldwide, and we really did change all the networks. You used to get the data that you see on your smartphone. Most of the information is being organized from bits that are stored on hard disks out in the internet somewhere, out on servers. All big, whole huge disk arrays, SAN arrays, and it's coming off of hard disks, right? Well, now I suspect that most of your data is probably coming off of our boards. Do any of you use Facebook ever, or any social networks? Do any of you use Apple stuff or Siri? you know, or almost every major company in the world, the biggest companies are all using our boards, and that's where your data's coming from. It's been a huge impact. You don't see it because it's not in your personal computer. And we played the 1984 commercial, you know, which you've all seen, you know, overthrowing, you know, contradictory thought will not be tolerated, and we're challenging that. You know, we were the new guys. We're going to bring the world some new life, and that's still, you know, very much the image and expectations of Apple. And you know what? You can't think of totally new directions, totally new type product categories. You can't think of those every year. You can't develop them every year, things that are that different. So the fact that Apple seems to be plateaued for a while is fine with me. You know, at least the products are good, exceptional, don't disappoint. That's the main thing. And I'm still sure that secretly, without knowing it, I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't want to. I think the secrecy and surprise to the world of great new products is very important for Apple's success. Like we showed off the Lisa computer to Bill Gates at Microsoft, and sure enough, Microsoft was able to start planning and working, and a few years later come into that GUI computer market with Windows. But you know, with the iPod and the iPhone, we sure didn't share those ideas with anybody until we shared them with the world and shocked everyone. So I think that's what will happen, but you don't know when. A lot of things like the iPod and the iPhone and iTunes music sales, we really didn't know what was going to happen until the day it did. And I think that's good for Apple, the way Apple runs its business with a tight ecosystem. I'm not necessarily for that.
Here, oh, there's three. Okay, so who's got a question? There's a hand right there on the end. Yes.
Good morning. Really a pleasure to have you here. I'm a user experience specialist, and I'm dying to ask you, what do you think of iOS 7?
Interesting question. User experience is extremely important to me. So I do like it, and I don't really have any problems with it. I like and the benefits that it added. I forget what they are, but I like them all a bit. So I think it was a good step, and that doesn't mean that everything's perfect about it, because nothing's ever perfect about any product. So, but there's be an evolution. So we'll see. I spoke about that a bit, that the phone is becoming so personal. It's like a close friend, and I get to speak to it the way I would speak to a human. And I'm starting to like that a lot. My life got changed a lot with the Newton Message Pad. It was the first PDA in the world from Apple a long time ago. A tablet that would be a little like an iPad mini. And you used a stylus, and you could handwrite with your own handwriting. How personal, how human could you get? The first day I had it, I handwrote a message to myself, a reminder. I handwrote Sarah, my daughter, dentist, Tuesday, 2 p.m. And then I saw a button called Assist. I was at an airport at the time, and I clicked Assist. It noticed what I had just written. It opened up the calendar. Tuesday at 2 p.m. it put in dentist, and it grabbed Sarah out of my contact list. And I said, that changed my life forever. I said, I want computers that I operate in the human world and handwrite things or speak them normally without thinking of procedures, and it understands them. So how could a computer ever equal a brain? Look at a child learning to talk. You learn, you go through the world, you hear people, by after 2 years you sort of learn how to speak. That's not how we want to program it into a computer. We want to program it into it right away. It's called simulated intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. It's not intelligent the way we humans are, so we haven't hit the formula. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You used to ask a person with a brain a smart question, right? A difficult question. And now who do you ask? It starts with Geo, and it's not God. Google, and you get back all these answers. Wait a minute, we didn't invent the internet to be a brain. We never intended it. We technical guys want to put wires up and see if we can establish 4 centers, 5 centers, all sharing some kind of connection, and then sharing data files, and then remotely accessible, and then sharing email. And eventually when the internet came to the masses, that was the ARPANET. When the internet came to the masses, everybody had so much information we had to sort it. It was too much to find. We had to sort it. Yahoo was a great search engine, Alta Vista. Now we got Google, and it replaces a lot of what we used to use brains for. But you know, input and output is really what defines a human being. So is this ever going to be? And I'm starting to think that Ray Kurzweil's method of predicting maybe 20 years from now there'll be a crossover and this is to be as smart as humans. It's scary if you take that, send that out like science fiction writers as to what it might imply, but it's very different than a lot of science fiction too if you think deeply about it. And I'm thinking maybe it's going to be 20 to 200 years because there might be stalling points. Moore's Law. We might be at an end with Moore's Law and not be able to make bigger and bigger computers in smaller and lower power size. Because we're getting down to the point where in NAND flash chips, we store a bit, a 1 or a 0 with 8 electrons. We can't go much lower than that. Get it right. Also, I don't like it when things get inconsistent and they change and move around and I take the steps I know and it doesn't work. The human being user is the one you've got to think of most importantly. I hope that's a good enough answer, if not everything.
I'm afraid we're all out of time. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Wozniak.